Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about how you can learn a lot from old people. And here in the West, old people probably don't get as much respect as they probably do in most Asian countries. But last night I spent some time with my grandpa, and the thing that I really noticed and took notice of, I guess, the most was his childlike curiosity and the fact that he's got a fantastic memory. So he's 86 and he's lived a pretty full life, one would say, one where he's worked hard, lived off the land, and grown a lot of things. He's a farmer, so he's had to look after livestock and come up with certain ways and different ways to make money on the farm. And one thing that really stuck with me was the fact that he just is always curious about things and curious about how things work and what sort of blends together to make X and Y and Z. And so for me, at the age I am now, I love spending time with him and learning a lot from him. And last night, for example, he was telling me a story about when he was going fishing and they got pretty much stuck because where he was fishing, he went pretty close to these mangroves, and the tide sort of went out, and so they could have easily got their boat, their little dinghy, stuck in the sand, but luckily for them, they narrowly avoided that and were able to get back to safety. So yeah, there's little stories like that where my grandpa, he certainly hasn't had a sheltered life. He's had a pretty daring life. He's loved his motorbike and adventuring, basically. And I asked him last night, I said, well, if you had 30 days to live, Gramps, what would you do? And he said, number one, spend time with family, and number two, to go traveling. And not only am I talking today about how you can learn a lot from old people, but just asking that question to anyone at any age can really get them thinking about what they actually want to do beyond their job. Because for me, my job doesn't define me, and I certainly won't let any job I do define me. I want to basically live freely and independently, and I want to do it in a way that I guess is on my terms. I don't really want to be put in a position where I'm forced to bite the bullet, as they say, and be stuck in a certain field or profession my whole life. I like the freedom and the mobility that my current job does give me, which is sales. But if push comes to shove, ideally, I would be wanting to travel, and having the year that I did last year was instrumental. And you can see a lot of the shorts on this channel if you go through my shorts. I had different ideas, and I probably, if I had my time again, I wouldn't do anything different. But the one thing that I want to do now is I want to make the plunge in this YouTube gig, this YouTube thing, and I really want to just keep uploading religiously. And you may or may not watch my content. I'll be very thankful if you do, but I want to be doing stuff that is adventuring, like my grandpa. He's always had that nature in him, and sometimes he hasn't always been able to fulfill his wishes of adventuring all the time because of the demands of running a farm. But what I want to instill more in my life is that childlike curiosity, that adventurous spirit, and the good attitude and the upbeat attitude, and just being a gentleman. And that's why you can learn a lot from old people. They have lived lives that they had to sort of live the post-war world, which was a lot of scarcity in the world, because they had to be mindful of this and that and what they spent. And now we're living in a world where it's pro-consumerism. It's pro, if you don't have money for it, borrow it, Afterpay and all that crap. And that's why people are getting bogged down and getting leeched by all these little extra subscriptions like Spotify, Disney Plus, Netflix, and yeah, it's just become more apparent to me that I don't want to live tied down too much. I want to be able to be mobile and get around in a way wherever I see fit. And if I can get to my grandpa's age at 86 and be relatively healthy like he is, then I'll be freaking laughing. But at the same time, I don't want to wait till then to live. And I know that, for him, he certainly, he had a good balance. He had a good balance where he wasn't a workaholic, so to speak, but he worked hard, but he wasn't a workaholic. And he was able to do things outside of his work, outside of working on the farm, that gave him stories to tell and stories to always have at the dinner table. Because at the end of the day, people won't really remember you for how much money you have or what sort of car you drive. It's gonna be how you made them feel, and that's essentially my belief system going forward. Is I want security like anybody else, but then I don't want to be completely dependent on this system, because this system that we live in ultimately feeds off us, not the other way around. And that's just the bleak reality. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a glass half full sort of empty, half full sort of guy, and not half empty. And yeah, that's just how I live my life. But at the same time, I'm not going to be sort of sleepwalking through life, so to speak, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's just another little thing to sort of bring your attention, guys, is that whatever grandparents you have, make the most of it. Ask them questions about their life. Ask them about things that they had to work out and probably are still working out. No one's a finished product, and we're all learning every day. Just because someone's older than you doesn't mean they know more than you, but they have probably lived a more well-rounded life. They've probably experienced things where, they didn't have mobile phones like us today. Like, they wouldn't be sitting in a car like I am now and recording themselves talk and uploading onto YouTube. That just wouldn't happen. Like, that's just not what was in their worldview like back then. And so it probably gives more perspective to oneself when you can actually sort of look into that and go, well, you know what, my grandparents or my nana or my grandpa or all that, they lived a life that I can't really imagine, because we're in a different time period now. But what they learnt is possibly going to help me. So that's why taking notice and all that is advantageous now. So yeah, what do you guys reckon? Comment down below. Are we as a society not as respectful to elders here in the West? Leave your comments down below. Leave a comment what you've learned from your grandparents and what you're still learning. I'd love to hear. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.